En el camino que emprendemos ahora, nos vamos a encontrar con el magno asunto del pueblo.
Las capas medias de la población.
So as was highlighted just about a second ago, as the camera scene pans down to what appears to be a board of university officials, the viewer's attention goes from a large painting of males, presumably a representation of past colonizers, to the men sitting in a row. The painting, which takes up nearly all of the initial screen space, stays this way for a few seconds, emphasizing its influence on the present-day university. The slow continuity into the row of men implies to the viewer that these ideals of colonialism continue to have a strong hold in university politics because they have been passed down through generations, quite literally transforming themselves through the years into the men in suits that are active on the screen. Briefly, we also get to hear that the group is talking about social issues of the pueblo, seemingly without any pueblo influence or representation.
Son el principal receptáculo de las ideologías neocoloniales. La universidad, el más profundo instrumento de esa colonización. Bajo el mito de la autonomía universitaria,
the idea that the middle layers of the population are the biggest receptors of this influence is then again emphasized by the prolonged duration of the huge colonial painting that overcasts the men.
Se hizo creer a generaciones de estudiantes e intelectuales que la universidad era una isla democrática dentro de un país oprimido. La universidad es un órgano del poder político vigente destinado a formar conciencias.
A few seconds before, the narrator mentions how these same people, described as intellectuals, are made to believe they are the spearheads in diversity of free thinking. There's an irony in that it shows the same archetype of men while mentioning this diversity, highlighting the contradiction of this idea. There is then a repetition of the continuity from the painting to the men, this time zoomed in more than before, to emphasize this addiction that makes this middle layer population believe they are breaking out of colonialism when in reality they are confining themselves within the same system, but this time in a modified manner.
La farsa de la libertad de cátedra estuvo la ideología que legalizaba la entrega, filosofía del monocultivo, liberalismo, libre cambio, desarrollismo, tecnocratismo. El pensamiento auténticamente nacional fue censurado o silenciado. Así se formó una intelectualidad desvinculada del pueblo-nación, ajena en su gran mayoría al país real.
The scene repeats this continuity for a third time, moving from the painting to the men, this time underscoring the isolation of these men from anyone else, even those of the pueblo which they presumably have influence over. They look alike, do not represent any real diversity of thought or physical representation, but yet have great power over continuing education and development of progressive thought.
Y ahora vamos al salón Pepsi Cola.
The transition from the university setting to the Pepsi Cola factory, along with the sound of an elevator moving up to another floor, invites the viewer to view the Salon factory as another but even more powerful institution that perpetuates imperialism. Not only is the salon named Pepsi Cola, a Western brand, but it's huge, so much so that the camera emphasizes this by not showing all the stories of the building, implying the large, seemingly never-ending influence it has on the subjects inside.
Aquí, Manuel Mujica Lainez, miembro de la Academia Argentina de Letras y de la Academia Nacional de Bellas Artes, presenta su último libro, Crónicas Reales. Mujica Lainez ha sido galardonado recientemente con el Premio Kennedy. Obtuvo además el Gran Premio Nacional de Literatura, el Premio Municipal, el Premio Herchunov, el Premio del Pen Club,
el Premio Kennedy
y numerosos.
While the narrator talks about the literary author being celebrated, the camera angle seems to imitate a person walking, unable to actually allow the viewer to locate Manuel in a sea of men and women who all look alike. This prolonged moment confuses the viewer and suggests that the rest of the crowd that are in attendance are well respected and even belong to the same upper social class, given their ability to celebrate in a Western company's factory, which is a sure sign of their illustrated success. Along with the list of prizes and awards Manuel has won, there can be an assumption made that these people are also some of the most well recognized in their fields. A few seconds later, there's a quick pan over Spanish translated and apparently famous European books that serve to demonstrate the physical quantity to which Manuel himself is familiar with and involved with the Western world.
Premio de Honor de la Sociedad de Escritores, que es el más importante que se da acá. Una medalla de oro del gobierno italiano. Después la condecoración que dan los franceses a los escritores. Y sí, muchos premios, esos que se llaman Herchunov y...
In a conversation with the narrator, Manuel then goes on to talk about how he's won so many awards from various European countries, again emphasizing his closeness with those literary spheres of influence, who may even be in attendance, as the screen seems to focus on Manuel's physical embrace with one guest as he recalls the countries from which he has won prizes.
¿Qué influencia ejerció sobre usted la cultura europea?
Y la influencia que ejerció sobre mí es muy grande. Yo soy un hombre de formación muy europea. Desde chico yo he tenido una formación clásica. Tanto es así que
While Manuel talks about the influence European culture has had on him, the focus of the screen shifts from the party gathering to a few guests consuming what appears to be Western food and beverages. There's a Pepsi Coke bottle and possibly some English tea cookies, as well as in the corners what may even appear to be European, maybe even French cheese. This scene is symbolic for a variety of reasons. It sends a message that not only does imperialism have an influence on the intellectual spheres of the upper class, but that the consumption is also voluntary and enjoyed. Continuing on, the screen focuses on an elderly woman's appearance, which is oddly reminiscent of the English Queen. The director uses Manuel's interview as a diegetic element that serves to enforce the idea that the upper-class Argentinians are not creators of high culture, but are rather imitating that for their own demonstrated self-worth, as represented by the guy who is seen stuffing the napkin, or English culture, into his pocket for keepsake.
¿Dónde le gustaría vivir?
And again, there is additional repetition that pans over the guests in the room to show that Manuel's experience, desires, wants, needs are not unique and are reflective of those in the room.